Yo, what's up guys? Today we are back with another PvP defense video, this time talking about how you can defend yourself against Dreadnoughts and mechs, which are both major threats to your towers and base. I'm not just gonna show you what to build to make your towers safe from mech rushes and incoming Dreadnoughts, but also how to actively fight them in the most effective way possible. Let's go. So first of all, why do we even need to protect ourselves against mechs? Well, mech rushes are a thing for a reason. As you can see, I've got a mech that's pretty close to cap, around 70k HP and 500 to 600 melee damage. These things are insanely fast. They can jump over pretty much any reasonable spam and go straight for your tower. Once they're in, they start smacking your structures with a ridiculous range. And on top of that, the pilot is completely protected from any incoming damage until basically the mech dies and you die too. But until that happens, you do a lot of damage to the towers. And like I said, mech rushes are a big thing for a reason. I don't think I need to say much about the Dreadnoughts. They're absolutely meta right now, straight up bullet sponges. They hit like a truck, and on top of that they also look cool as hell. This one I'm currently raising on official. It's not the latest set line and it's not fully raised yet, but it already has more HP than the Titan, and with a good saddle they get even tankier. Absolutely beasts in any raid. So before we talk about how we can actively fight them, let's prepare our towers for any incoming mech rushes. And to do that, we want to build a fence out of bolts flying around our tower. What we need to do is, at the height of 5, insert a full circle of tech cellar doors, the 5x5 ones. When we got that done, we need some thatch foundations if you don't already have foundation support around your tower on the ground. So, if you go a little bit out, you can just make a circle of thatch foundations around your thing and it will work. So now we can install a circle of thatch ceilings around our tower. It's all later gonna be destroyed obviously. This is just for our supportive structure. Okay, when that's done, you go on top of that thing and you place yourself a ladder for correct placement. You want to make it clean. Take your bolts, and then I like to go to K mode, and the first row of bolts is gonna be placed in the middle of the ceilings. Need to eyeball it a little bit. And we're gonna leave one ceiling open, the next one. You can, if you look at the lines of the thatched ceilings, those X lines, the two corners of the vault need to be aligned with that line, and it's gonna be like the middle, basically. If it's not completely clean, it doesn't matter. And once you have one side done, obviously we need to do it for all 4 sides. So let me check again. If you want to, you could turn your bolts now. We're in the middle with that ladder, and now we just place it like that again. Actually, I figured out if we actually really just watch those lines, left and right corner of the vault needs to be on the line, and then we don't even need to use the K mode. So once we got the circle done, you just take your tech rifle or a hatchet, and we're gonna kill the circle of thatch ceilings, and you're gonna have those floating bolts around that thing. All you need to do then is go to these tech cellar doors and put them to never open. And then we're gonna have that thing done. The next thing that we want to do after that is basically reap, because if I test it now, already the mech won't be able to walk in here, right? It's gonna be blocked by those bolts. But we know that the mech can jump, and he can jump pretty high, so we need to do that same thing one more time. And I suggest to do that at a height of another 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. Obviously I'm being blocked by those tethers right now, so I need to change it up a little bit. But you get the idea, and when I'm finished with that, I'm going to show you that. Also, one thing you need to watch out for, if there is... Oh, let me get in there. If there is cliffs like this next to your tower, the mech can jump even higher, and their flying curve is pretty straightforward, and the longer they fly they will go down, but not very fast. So I'm gonna show you that. As you see, I could jump over the second row now too, and the longer I fly, you see it, the faster I fall, but I can jump pretty far and in a straight line at the beginning especially. So if there's a cliff, next to your tower, you probably want to make a third line above that too, or if they can jump from on top, then maybe actually build a whole net out of those things on top of your tower. I prepared the second circle over here. There's one thing we need to watch out for though, because if we would place the second row of vault directly on top of the other ones, there's a chance that it's slightly off, maybe by a pixel or something like that, and then the mech could stand on the vaults below. We don't want that obviously. So what I like to do is I bring the second row of vaults out to the edge. It's like overlapping a little bit. Like this for the first one. And then the next ones are just gonna be placed always like one ceiling space, and then at the front edge and in the middle of the next ceiling again. So now with both of those circles installed on a regular level with regular walking or even with the jumping, I can't get to the tower, as you see. I could swing, but you most likely just hit those walls at the beginning or the cage, which is still okay, and if you're very crazy you could also do the same thing twice, but you need foundation support below that to do that. Okay, and like I said, if there's someone coming from above, you need to also make it higher so they can't get at the top part or jump over the fencing. The same thing will also obviously stop the Dreadnought. You will also get stuck on that thing, which helps us. And the next thing that we want to do is, at least like for the building part, we take spike walls, and I think it's regularly known that spikes obviously do damage to enemies if they hit them or if they like walk onto them. And since we know that if the mech jumps against that, he will fall down eventually. If we place our spikes straight below, they will get the damage from that shit. I move that. So like this, over here. And over there. I wouldn't place like a whole circle, but like at every foundation maybe of your spam. Just like you would normally do a anti-mech spam. This was the good part that when you hit it with the mech, it doesn't do too much damage, but if they walk on top of those spikes, they get a lot of damage. And if it's multiple spikes at the same time, it's even more damage. Same thing is for the Dreadnought. If he steps on those things, it's a lot of damage for them. And to demonstrate that real quickly, I'm stepping onto 2 spikes only with the Dreadnought over here, and I'm getting 200 damage per tick, 100 each. So for example, if you rush over these spikes with a mech and you hit, I don't know, in a second 4 or 5 spikes, that's instantly 400, 500 damage that you take over there for just those structures. Alright, let's talk about how we can actually fight these things. Dreadnoughts, you're not beating them with brute force. Carchers, combo bows, guns, at best they just tickle. What you need is max health damage. That's where the Thyla comes in. It's super mobile and only needs to land a bite to apply the bleed effect, which shreds a total amount of 5% of the enemy's max HP. So if a Dread, for example an official service, reaches 1 million HP, a single bleed hits for 50,000 damage. And if you combine that with the Carno's Bone Break, which basically has the same effect and slows down the enemy, you'll melt these big boys very fast. You can also support from range using Poison Rivals or Basilisk, especially if the Dread is like keeping distance or is soaking from a higher range. Now for the mechs, bleeders don't work on them, they're immune to bleed effects, so Thylas and Carnos are basically useless over here. As long as the mech keeps the distance, gunfire is your friend here. Since mechs have no saddle, they will take full damage from bullets. Just obviously if they throw up a bubble, your guns are becoming useless at this point. Your best bet though is the Pyromane. The fire damage does actually apply to the mech, and if you can stack it up to 10 stacks, that mech is not gonna last long. One last thing, don't attack mechs with flyers while their bubble is up. You'll get slowed by around 70%, and Wyverns especially take increased damage from their cannon shots. It's a death trap basically. And with that all said, we're already at the end of the video. If you find this information helpful and you like the content, maybe consider to subscribe, and also if there's any questions, you can always join my Discord server, link is in the description, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye bye.